Okay, so here we go again. It's almost an instant replay of what we did the other day. It's just for the first time they're going to put a big emphasis on mixed numbers. But it doesn't really change the process that we're doing. It just needs us to remember how to manage one or two old friends. So again, same idea applies. We take all these fractions, all of these old fractions have to go. Whenever I see your homework paper, I want to see some new fractions getting created. And adding and subtracting, we have to have a common denominator. So we'll wrap around the room, we'll just have everybody play. So for this one, what would you pick for the bottoms?
Is that a 10?
This is a 3/5 and a 3/10.
Yeah, so 10.
We'd pick 10. So the bottom of this whole world is going to be 10. What would you pick for the bottom of this stuff?
I would pick 21.
I would pick 21. We're looking to find the LCM, which means it's the smallest number they can both go into. What do you think here for a common denominator?
12.
We're going to go 12s, 3 and 4, both go into 12s. A lot of times you can multiply the numbers to make that common denominator, but you don't have to do it that way. Here, 5 times 10, you could use 50, that could work, but that's a lot bigger than you need it to be. You're better off with 10 than you are with 50. With 8s and 3s, what do you think? It is 24. Seems like your math facts are getting quicker over the course of the year, I think. Anybody question about how we're picking those bottoms at all? Okay, after you pick the bottoms, then you have to do the tops. So let's go one top per customer.
6.
He would give you that one. I was going to go back to him. He didn't get to play yet. What do you think there?
3.
We'll leave that a 3. Okay, we'll go to you, new top here.
That would be 14.
14. New top here. Okay, I'll kill a minute. I should have a second ago said first, did anybody have a question how we pick the bottoms? I should have asked that before I got excited and started doing tops. Was anybody confused about bottom? Okay, to pick tops, what we're now thinking is, what did we multiply by on the bottom? And whatever we multiplied on the bottom, we have to multiply that same number on the top. So here, I multiplied the bottom already.
15.
You're going to come up with 15. That's true. This one.
Is that a 3?
This was a 3/4 here.
9.
It is 9.
Oh, 8.
8. Yep.
21.
21. Yep.
That would be 16.
16. Anybody have a question about how we changed any of the tops? One of these questions is harder than any of the others. So let's find that one. A couple of these are easy to do. One of them's harder than the rest for us to do. It's a messy looking 5. Can anybody spot which one is the one that works the least well of this group?
Is,
Is it here? No.
2.
2, I'd say, is second worst. What don't you like about 2?
You have to, it's going to be improper.
We're going to get an improper. Let's do that one because we're on topic for that one. I agree, this one is harder than 2 of them, but I'd put this one in second place of difficulty. When we go 9 plus 8, that gets us...
13. Or, no. Oh, 17.
17. The whole number part gets us
5.
5. So we have an improper over there. What do you think about changing that one around?
It would be 6 and 5 12.
Best answer is going to be 6 and 5 12s. We do 12 into 17, divides in once. So that adds 1 onto the 5, that's where the 6 came from. And when 12 goes into 17, there's 5 leftovers, and we don't mess with the bottom. That's probably like medium difficulty, number 2 difficulty, I would say. Can anybody spot which one goes less well, I think, than that one?
Is it 4?
No, 4's gonna be okay.
3.
Why 3? What's bad about 3?
Because the smaller numbers on top, it's subtraction.
Yeah, so 14 is too little to subtract 15. So we have a way around this. Whether it's whole numbers or whether it's fraction numbers, there's a way around this. When we start to subtract, we're like, we can't. What's the subtract way out when you start and you're like, oh, that's too little over there?
Borrow.
We borrow. So we borrow from the 5 to make a 4. We're used to doing that always. But borrowing in the fraction is not a matter of bringing a 1 over. You don't make 114. That would be a little much. What's the scheme when we borrow in fraction town? How do we make the adjustment?
The denominator and the numerator are the same.
No, we're not going to just fill in a 21, but we are going to use the 21. If this were an empty space, we would go 21, 21. But since there's a fraction already there, we have to do a different thing with that 21. Memories of the borrow there?
You have to add the 21 into the 14.
That's correct. We add the bottom up onto the top. We need to add that 21 onto the 14 to get, just yell anybody.
35.
35, and now we're okay. So that's borrowing. Take 1 from the whole number and add the bottom onto the top. Now we can subtract. 35 can subtract 15, just yell. 20, someone says. 4 minus 2. 2. And we're good. Question there? If our friend were here, I'd have tripped him up on this one. Why don't we get an improper on this? Some people will look at this sometimes and think, oh, that's going to be improper, but why is this one not going to be improper?
Because they're minusing.
Because it's subtract, okay? So we can subtract, no problem. Just pay attention as we go. Half the homework's going to be add, half's going to be subtract. So 21 is big enough to subtract 16. That makes... Jill?
Why can't I think
I
of this?
can't think of it either.
Yeah, use your fingers if you have to. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And then the number part makes 2. This one also just straight out just goes. We're adding. This adds up to 9. And then this part adds up to
7.
You will sometimes go improper on your adds. You will sometimes have to borrow on your subtracts. Those are the 2 harder scenarios. But a lot of times it just works. You don't real often have to reduce if you pick the right bottom. So if you had done this problem with a 20 or a 30 or a 50 or something, then you'd have to reduce. But as long as you pick the right bottoms, reducing doesn't happen a lot, but you should do it if you can. Question about mixed number like? So we're just popping up a set today. We're set W. So if you look at set W, you can see they're all mixed numbers. So half of them add, half of them subtract. On the subtracts, some of them are going to borrow, maybe like half the time, probably borrowing, and then adding improper maybe half the time. So you probably got roughly in this set, like we have 4 different problems on the board. A subtract that we borrowed, a subtract we didn't, an add that was improper, an add that wasn't. You probably have in a set like 6 of each of those problems, something like that I'd expect on average. But set W, and we're done.